What if the story of a people was written not on parchment or stone, but in the quiet, intricate code spiraling inside every single cell of their being? Across more than 7,000 islands, bathed in the warmth of the Pacific sun, the Philippines stands as a living testament to voyages made, battles fought, and dreams carried on ancient monsoon winds. Beneath its sunlit shores lies a deeper warmth, an enduring pulse, the very bloodline of a nation whose genetic story stretches farther, and is more complex, than any conventional map or history book can fully trace. Imagine for a moment, each Filipino carries an ocean inside them. Not just the physical water surrounding their islands, but an ocean of ancestors, intrepid sailors navigating unknown seas, resourceful traders exchanging exotic goods, fierce warriors defending their lands, and countless mothers whose whispers of lullabies and wisdom echo not just in memory, but in the very curve of a cheekbone, in skin kissed by generations of sun, in words shared around ancient rice fields and bustling modern streets. Science, with its powerful new tools, now listens to these whispers. It deciphers the ancient script written in our chromosomes, unlocking astonishing truths that oral histories alone, as rich as they are, could never fully capture. In the Philippines, DNA is not just biology, it is a profound diary of human movement, a timeless passport connecting distant lands, and an unerring compass pointing back to shores and epochs unseen. So, who really are the Filipinos when the veil of myth is lifted by the objective, revealing lens of genetic science? How did this archipelago become not just a nation, but a true crossroads of human journeys, a breathtaking mosaic of migrations and mingled lineages unlike almost any other on Earth? Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey. We will dive deep, not just into the islands themselves, but into the very veins of these vibrant lands, guided by the silent, powerful memories encoded in genes that remember the worlds our ancestors traversed to shape the diverse faces we see today. Stretching from the very edge of mainland Asia, an ancient land bridge connecting to the restless expanse of the Pacific, the Philippines has long served as a crucial stepping stone for adventurers, explorers, and settlers alike. This vibrant nation of over 100 million people is far more than just tropical beaches and bustling cities. It is a living archive, a dynamic museum of countless crossings and profound cultural fusions. For centuries, its myriad islands witnessed the majestic rise and fall of ancient sultanates, the imposing arrival of Spanish galleons, the swift passage of Chinese junks, the powerful presence of American ships, and everything in between. Languages, cuisines, and deeply held beliefs mixed like powerful rivers meeting the vast, expansive sea. But beneath the swirling eddy of cultures and flags, a quieter, more enduring record survived, a record hidden, patiently waiting, in the very bodies of those who called these shores home. Scientists, armed with groundbreaking techniques, have long wondered, how did such rich and unparalleled cultural diversity arise on these islands? Was it driven only by the forces of trade and colonial rule, or is the story far older, far deeper? A tale woven into the very strands of DNA that connect islanders to distant lands and ancient migrations, stretching back into the mists of prehistory? We promise to unravel this intricate, surprising story, revealing precisely why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique, and why understanding it changes everything. Recent groundbreaking studies have finally begun to reveal the astonishing answers to these questions. They demonstrate that the very foundation of Filipino identity is not merely the byproduct of recent foreign powers, as some histories might suggest, but is profoundly rooted in monumental waves of human movement stretching back tens of thousands of years, a span of time almost incomprehensible to us. To truly understand the Filipinos, we must look not just to the pages of history books, but to the majestic double helix itself, that silent, enduring witness to a past far grander than any single empire could ever encompass. The earliest, most foundational chapters of the Filipino genetic story begin not in the last few centuries, but far before the first recorded kings or colonizers. Around an astounding 50,000 years ago, the true ancestors of today's Filipinos, the intrepid pioneers, first set foot on these pristine islands. But what did these earliest inhabitants look like? What paths did they carve through the ancient world, and what profound, enduring secrets does their DNA still hold, waiting to be deciphered and understood? Back in that distant era, during the last ice age, lower global sea levels dramatically revealed land bridges that connected vast parts of Southeast Asia, creating pathways. These allowed early humans to walk or navigate short, daring distances by simple rafts, eventually reaching what is now the sprawling Philippine archipelago. These truly ancient settlers carried with them unique genetic signatures, identifiable patterns in their DNA that researchers today recognize as DPN and pre-Austronesian markers. Think of these markers like the very first, original brushstrokes on a vast, intricate painting. They are foundational elements, unique genetic ingredients that have been passed down through countless generations, largely untouched by later waves. These are some of the same incredibly ancient threads found prominently in indigenous groups today, like the Ita, Agta, and Ati, often collectively referred to as Negritos. These communities, with their distinct physical features, their deep knowledge of the land, and their rich, unbroken traditions, are living links to the archipelago's most ancient human roots. They are, in essence, living time capsules. DNA studies have conclusively shown that these earliest islanders, these first intrepid Filipinos, did not simply vanish. Instead, they skillfully coexisted, interacted, and crucially, beautifully blended with new waves of migrants who began arriving thousands of years later, shaping the complex genetic tapestry we see today. But here's the critical point. The distinct presence of these ancient lineages, enduring and significant, is a powerful reason why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique. It speaks to a deep, unbroken connection to the very dawn of human settlement in this part of the world. But the story of the Filipino genome, like the restless sea itself, is one of constant movement and profound transformation. The foundational layers were laid, yes, but around 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, a monumental shift began. A revolution in seafaring and human dispersal that would forever alter the genetic and cultural landscape of the Philippines, and indeed, much of the Pacific world. This was not just another wave of settlers, it was arguably the greatest seafaring migration in human history. What was this pivotal event? How did it fundamentally reshape the genetic makeup of the islands? And how does it weave a new, significant, and enduring thread into the very DNA of Filipinos? The implications are truly global. Around 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, the magnificent Austronesian expansion began, a truly epic seafaring wave that launched from the island of Taiwan, swept powerfully southward through the Philippines, establishing it as a crucial central hub, and then cascaded outward into the vast, uncharted Pacific. Their incredible voyages eventually reached astonishing distances, populating islands as far-flung as Hawaii and the enigmatic Easter Island. This Austronesian migration was more than just people moving, it was a technological and cultural revolution on water. They brought with them advanced farming techniques, the art of pottery, and perhaps most critically, an unparalleled understanding of navigation. The ability to read the stars, the winds, and the currents. Imagine it like the construction of a vast, ancient oceanic superhighway, with the Philippines serving as its bustling, vibrant intersection. This incredible movement stitched the Philippines firmly into a larger interconnected family of island peoples spread across Micronesia, Polynesia, and significant parts of Southeast Asia. The profound result, the deep, ancient hunter-gatherer ancestry we discussed earlier became intricately intertwined, layered with the powerful dynamic influence of the Austronesians. This unique genetic blend laid the absolutely foundational groundwork for the diverse communities that would later trade, fight, and intermingle with even more distant traders and settlers from China, India, Arabia, and far beyond. Even today, when geneticists meticulously sample DNA from diverse Filipino populations, they consistently find clear, unmistakable traces of this deep past. A living, breathing time capsule preserving the ancient footprints of migrations that unfolded when mammoths and mastodons still roamed parts of the earth. This dominant and pervasive Austronesian layer, uniting the archipelago with half the world's islands, is undoubtedly a primary reason why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique. It is a testament to their unparalleled role in one of humanity's grandest movements. But the story of Filipino DNA, like the archipelago itself, is a continually evolving narrative. The islands have never been isolated, they have always been dynamic crossroads, bustling hubs of commerce, inevitable points of cultural exchange, and yes, even arenas of conquest. Every boat that arrived on their shores, every treaty signed, every new marriage forged between a local islander and a foreign merchant, added a fresh, intricate brushstroke to the ever-growing Filipino genetic canvas. Long before Magellan's fateful history-altering landing in 1521, the Philippines was already a vibrant, thriving center of international trade. But what subtle yet remarkably significant genetic marks did these early pre-colonial global interactions leave on the very DNA of Filipinos? And how much did they truly alter the already complex genetic recipe? Long before Magellan's fateful landing in 1521, an event that forever changed the geopolitical landscape, Filipino traders were already masters of the monsoon winds, deftly navigating the vast South China Sea and even venturing into the Indian Ocean to reach distant shores. They sailed sleek, expertly crafted banca boats, not just for local transport, but for international commerce. They exchanged precious gold mined from Luzon's mountains, glistening pearls harvested from the pristine waters of Sulu, and fragrant spices grown in Mindanao's fertile soil, for luxurious silk, exquisite jade, delicate porcelain, and beautiful beads from far-off lands. Chinese merchants, driven by the lure of trade, settled in bustling coastal communities throughout the archipelago. They not only introduced new words, unique culinary tastes, and innovative technologies, but also, and this is critical, left behind a subtle but undeniable biological legacy. Genetic studies consistently reveal that some Filipino populations, particularly in historically cosmopolitan hubs like Manila and Cebu, carry up to 10% East Asian ancestry, predominantly Chinese, a silent, powerful testimony to centuries of intermarriage and peaceful, often prosperous, trade. Similarly, though in smaller percentages, traces of South Asian and even some Middle Eastern DNA can be meticulously found in various Filipino groups, subtly hinting at deep, ancient connections forged through these intricate, sprawling spice routes. Think of these as the unique, almost hidden flavor notes, added through centuries of organic global interaction to the already complex Filipino genetic mix. This demonstrates that the DNA of Filipinos truly began its unique diversification long before the arrival of any Western powers. Then came the Spanish. They arrived with imposing galleons, a different faith, and an iron will, imposing a colonial regime that would tragically stretch for over 300 years. Spanish galleons anchored in Manila Bay, priests built stone churches atop ancient hilltops, and famously new European surnames were assigned by colonial decree. Catholicism and European architecture firmly took root, transforming the cultural, social, and political landscape of the Philippines forever. It was a massive societal upheaval. But given this profound and lengthy period of foreign rule, what actual measurable impact did it have on the very DNA of Filipinos? Did centuries of conquest truly rewrite their genetic code? The answer, surprisingly, is far more nuanced than you might expect, and it carries a powerful message about Filipino resilience. Perhaps one of the most surprising revelations in the study of Filipino DNA lies in the relatively modest genetic imprint left by Spain, despite over 3 centuries of colonial rule. In the vast majority of Filipinos today, meticulously conducted genetic studies show that Iberian DNA contributes, on average, less than 2% of their total ancestry. In many regions, it's even less than 1%. This is a stark contrast to other former Spanish colonies in the Americas, where European genetic contribution is often significantly higher. This reveals a profound truth. The Spaniards, while undeniably reshaping Filipino identity through the imposition of religion, new forms of governance, and the often forced resettlement of communities into centralized towns, did so far more through cultural and societal transformation than through widespread biological assimilation. Intermarriage certainly occurred, particularly among the elite, but it did not, on a population level, fundamentally alter the deeply rooted genetic fabric of the archipelago. After Spain's flag was finally lowered, American rule began, introducing public schools, teaching English, and establishing new systems of governance. While American colonialism profoundly altered education, infrastructure, and political systems, its direct genetic impact was, if anything, even more negligible, a faint, almost undetectable trace at best. The same holds true for the brief British occupation in the 18th century and the devastating Japanese presence during World War II. These were, in the grand sweep of genetic history, short-lived waves of foreign control that left deeper, more painful scars in history books and collective memory than they did in the enduring Filipino gene pool itself. This fascinating resilience in the face of colonial power is a testament to the strength of the pre-existing Filipino population, and a key factor in why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique. It underscores that their genetic identity was already robust and deeply established. So, if foreign powers had a surprisingly limited genetic impact, what truly wove the Filipino genome into its singularly unique and intricate fabric? The answer lies not in external forces, but in centuries of dynamic internal migrations and profound intermarriages among the island's own diverse peoples. Ilocano farmers journeyed south from their northern lands to seek new opportunities and fertile land. Visayans, from the central islands, moved north for trade and new settlements. And Mindanao, in the south, became a vibrant, ever-changing mosaic of settlers and diverse indigenous groups. Over countless generations, these continuous internal movements created an astonishingly complex web of relationships, blending hundreds of distinct cultures, dialects, and lineages into something truly remarkable, a national identity that is both breathtakingly diverse and yet profoundly interconnected. But how exactly did these internal movements create such a rich and varied, yet ultimately unified genetic tapestry for the Filipinos? Recent groundbreaking genetic mapping studies beautifully illustrate this profound internal dynamism. They show clusters of Filipino populations displaying subtle but scientifically measurable genetic differences, distinct enough to speak volumes of old, localized migrations, adaptations to specific regional environments, and the powerful persistence of community ties. An Ilocano from the volcanic slopes of Mayon, a Tausig from the sun-drenched Sulu archipelago, and an Igorot from the majestic Cordillera highlands may all proudly call themselves Filipino, yet their DNA carries echoes of slightly different journeys through time, each contributing a unique flavor to the national genetic palette. In short, the Filipino genome is emphatically not a story of one conqueror's blood dominating all others. Instead, it is a vivid, complex, and extraordinarily resilient tapestry, a living testament to thousands of years of continuous movement, organic blending, and unwavering survival against all odds. Each thread within this tapestry, whether from an ancient Austronesian sailor braving uncharted seas, a Chinese merchant unpacking porcelain on ancient docks, or a Visayan farmer cultivating rice fields, remains visibly distinct yet intricately woven into the genetic patterns that shape Filipino identity to this very day. This continuous internal genetic conversation across thousands of islands, over millennia, is an absolutely critical defining factor in why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique. It's a story of internal unity forged from astonishing diversity. So now that we've peeled back the layers of migration and interaction, what truly makes the Filipino genetic story stand out, not just in Southeast Asia, but on the entire global landscape? We've seen the powerful Austronesian signature, but is there something even more ancient, even more foundational, about the DNA of Filipinos that gives them a truly singular place in the human story? A genetic whisper from a past almost unimaginable? One of the most striking and globally significant characteristics of the Filipino genome is their remarkably high proportion of ancient Southeast Asian hunter-gatherer ancestry. This is not just a trace, it's a substantial component. In some indigenous groups, particularly those who live in more isolated or mountainous regions, this ancient legacy can account for an astonishing 30% or even more of their total DNA. This percentage is often notably higher than in many neighboring populations across mainland and island Southeast Asia, where these older lineages have been more extensively diluted by later migrations. This deeply rooted lineage directly connects Filipinos to the very earliest humans who ventured into island Southeast Asia tens of thousands of years ago, intrepid explorers leaving their enduring genetic footprints in ancient caves and, crucially, preserving their unique genes in their modern descendants. This makes Filipinos not just fascinating subjects for study, but a vital living key for scientists who are still working to unravel the incredibly complex roots of human dispersal and early population movements across Asia and Oceania. This powerful, persistent connection to the earliest inhabitants, a living echo from the deep past, is a profoundly significant factor in why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique. It represents an unparalleled genetic continuity with humanity's distant origins in this crucial region. Beyond their deep, ancient roots, there's another astonishing element that makes the DNA of Filipinos truly unique on a global scale. The pervasive presence of the Austronesian signature, which we briefly touched on earlier, is far more than just a historical footnote. It's a living, vibrating genetic thread that weaves Filipinos into a truly vast, epic maritime story stretching across half the globe. How does this shared heritage, this genetic signature of ancient navigators, profoundly connect Filipinos to people separated by thousands upon thousands of miles of seemingly endless ocean, from the remote shores of Madagascar to the far reaches of Easter Island? This shared Austronesian heritage is profound. It binds a Filipino fisherman casting his net off Palawan to a courageous Maori navigator charting the Tasman Sea, or a graceful Hawaiian dancer honoring ancestors through hula. The same ancient seafaring impulse, the spirit of daring exploration, that launched sophisticated outrigger canoes from the shores of Taiwan, and then from the numerous islands of the Philippines, eventually led to the peopling of the most remote and challenging islands on Earth. It was an unprecedented feat of human courage and ingenuity. In this incredible sense, every Filipino carries within them a vibrant, living fragment of that pioneering spirit, a direct, undeniable genetic testament to history's greatest ocean migration. This powerful, deeply ingrained Austronesian link, a genetic signature of master navigators and intrepid explorers, is undeniably another monumental reason why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique. It gives them a profound, almost mystical connection to a vast oceanic family, making their genetic story truly unlike any other. They are the inheritors of an unparalleled maritime legacy. For millennia, generations of Filipinos have lived, thrived, and evolved within the unique, challenging, and often beautiful tropical environment of their islands. This intense, long-term interaction with their surroundings inevitably leaves a mark. Have Filipinos developed distinct, unique genetic adaptations, biological superpowers, if you will, that help them not just survive, but truly flourish in their specific environment? What profound secrets of resilience and survival are subtly encoded in their DNA, forged by the very air they breathe, the food they eat, and the challenges they've overcome? The long, continuous presence of Filipinos in their tropical homeland has indeed led to fascinating and unique genetic adaptations. Studies have revealed higher frequencies of specific alleles. Think of these as particular versions of genes that confer a natural, often potent resistance to prevalent mosquito-borne diseases like malaria and dengue. Imagine having a subtle built-in shield against some of the most persistent threats in a tropical climate. This is a clear evolutionary advantage, painstakingly developed over thousands of years of exposure. Furthermore, certain metabolic traits, including variations that affect fat storage and energy balance within the body, distinctly reflect centuries of adapting to traditional diets rich in carbohydrates from rice and diverse root crops, alongside abundant seafood. Their bodies have become incredibly efficient at processing the specific nutrients available in their environment. Among the most striking examples of these adaptations are found within Philippine Negrito communities. Researchers have identified rare gene variants unique to these groups, genetic fingerprints that help regulate body temperature more efficiently in intense heat, provide enhanced protection for the skin from a relentless tropical sun, and may even confer greater endurance and strength specifically adapted for navigating rugged rainforest terrain. These genetic upgrades are like nature's bespoke engineering, tailored precisely for their environment. These specific, environmentally driven adaptations are a profound component of why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique. They are living proof of the powerful interplay between people and their land. Now, for one of the most intriguing and almost fantastical revelations unearthed by modern genetic science. Beyond the waves of modern human migration and environmental adaptation, there's an even deeper, more ancient secret hidden within the DNA of Filipinos, a whisper from a truly long-lost human past. Tiny, almost imperceptible fragments of DNA from an incredibly mysterious, long-extinct human species, known as Denisovans, still linger, silently preserved, in Filipino genomes. This is not just a scientific curiosity, it's a profound connection to a chapter of human history we are only just beginning to write. What does this ancient, almost ghost-like inheritance tell us about the earliest human interactions, and how does it make the DNA of Filipinos an unparalleled genetic archive? This is truly astounding. Intriguingly, tiny fragments of DNA from an ancient human species, a mysterious long-extinct relative of Neanderthals known as Denisovans, still linger, silently preserved, in the Filipino genomes. This archaic inheritance, this genetic echo from humanity's deep past, was likely introduced through interbreeding more than 40,000 years ago, when early modern humans encountered and interacted with these enigmatic Denisovans. This places Filipinos among a very select few modern populations, alongside Melanesians and some Australian Aboriginal peoples, who carry this hidden, profound genetic legacy. These Denisovan traces are far more than mere genetic curiosities. They are invaluable clues to humanity's most ancient crossings, powerful reminders that modern human populations, including Filipinos, are not simple, linear lineages. Instead, we are complex, layered mosaics of multiple ancient human lineages, beautifully interwoven over vast spans of time. This direct, tangible genetic link to a long-lost human species is arguably one of the most compelling and unique features of the DNA of Filipinos, making them an absolutely crucial population for understanding the broader story of human evolution and migration across the globe. It means that within every Filipino is a piece of humanity's deepest, most fascinating history. Taken together, these profound discoveries remind us that identity is far more than just culture, politics, or language. It is a living, breathing record, intricately etched into our very cells, a vibrant, continuous red thread in the vast, complex tapestry of humankind. In every Filipino genome, you can read an epic, enduring story, a chronicle of unparalleled survival against the odds, of relentless exploration across vast oceans, of ingenious adaptation to challenging environments, of beautiful blending of diverse peoples, and of a lineage that is both singularly, unmistakably unique, and yet profoundly connected to all who came before, stretching back to the earliest migrations out of Africa. This is precisely why the DNA of Filipinos is so unique, a testament to a human journey unlike any other on Earth. Their quiet strength, their unwavering dedication, their deep-seated resilience, and their ability to absorb and integrate diverse influences while maintaining their core identity are all subtly reflected in their genetic makeup. The DNA of Filipinos is not just biology, it is a profound testament to the human spirit's capacity for adaptation, endurance, and cultural fusion. It is a living, breathing chronicle of humanity's past, present, and future. Hopefully, this deep dive has given you a newfound understanding and appreciation for the profound, multi-layered story etched into the DNA of Filipinos. Their heritage is a living, breathing testament to the incredible journey of humanity itself. What part of this genetic voyage into Filipino origins surprised or fascinated you the most? Was it the ancient Denisovan echo still lingering in modern genes, the remarkably small but persistent traces of Spanish and Chinese heritage, or simply the astonishing realization that their ancestors masterfully crossed oceans you never imagined possible? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your insights, your personal connections to this heritage, or simply what inspired you, in the comments below. Whether you carry this incredible heritage yourself or are simply inspired by it, your perspective truly matters to this conversation. And if you enjoyed unraveling this magnificent living tapestry with us, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell. That way, you won't miss our next captivating voyage into the genetics of humankind and the untold stories written in our very cells.